Good day to everyone. I'm Olajide Oshiberu by name, and I'm the founding partner of GREENAID Technologies. I'm not a medical practitioner, and I'm just someone with high appetite for research and development. And over the years, under the umbrella of Idea Bank International, I've been able to help many people and organizations to tap into their creativity for better results. So GREENAID is just an offshoot of Idea Bank International. I'd like to say before I move ahead that GREENAID is not a medical institution, neither are products substitutes to medications any doctor may prescribe. Our intention is to use technology to produce better alternatives to the conventional ways of controlling the spread of contagious infection. And our vision is to be the most preferred first aid measure against the spread of unseen contagious. Now, just like plague, coronavirus invaded our world, and many lives were lost and so many things altered forever. Thereafter, we were admonished to wash and sanitize our hands, to use face masks, and to also keep distance. But this is my view concerning this. Solution to problems in any society depends on three major factors. Number one, the community. Number two, the occupants of the community. And number three, the nature of the occupant. So leveraging on just any of these two will never lead to the solution. I would like to say that no one solution will be able to address different challenges from two society of different communities, occupants, and nature. I would like to briefly mention this. The response of China to COVID-19 outbreak. Number one, they erected compulsory quarantine and lockdown. Also, they build up makeshift emergency hospital every 6 days. And lastly, they engage in continuous disinfection of surfaces and objects around them, and also hand hygiene. Now, this is Europe's response to the COVID-19 outbreak. Europe also enforced self-isolation, social distance, and continuous disinfection and hand hygiene. But when it got to Africa, Africa looked for what worked best in Europe and China, then combined this together without even considering our community, the occupants, and their nature. African introduced social distancing, lockdown, and hand hygiene. From my view, Afrocentric response will be the best in addressing African nation. Now, in many African countries, life is back to normalcy. Social distance does not even exist anymore, and hand hygiene has long disappeared. But the fact remains that hand hygiene is not supposed to be an event, but a practice, especially in Africa. As a matter of fact, it's the number one and the cheapest way to control contagious infection that easily travels through hands. I'm an African, and I know that African society have many shared contact surfaces that can be contaminated with bacteria, viruses, and spreadable by our hands. I want to believe that there's no exception to how coronavirus spread faster in Africa. I can say convincingly that it moves faster via the frequently touched surfaces and objects around us than inhaling contaminated air as claimed by many. An African will pull out fresh mucus from the nostril with bare hands and rub it to anywhere, maybe the surface or the object around, or even the cloth. We urinate by the roadside, defecate without washing their hands, and proceed to stores, to markets, to price things, to touch things, to the roadside, plantain seller, roadside, roasted corn seller, and touched many, even before you eventually pick one that you need. And most of the frequently touched surfaces around us that we commonly share in Africa, I would like to mention very brief, and as we move ahead, we have the automated machine. If you approach anyone, you see how dirty most of them are. Somebody we approach and use without considering the previous person that touched it, or considering the next person coming in. Also, we have hand railings, door handles, light switches, bus handrails, the elevator buttons, microwaves and refrigerator doors, shopping basket, computer keyboard, cafeteria trays, cafeteria menu, talking about the purse and the handbag we carry around, talking about desktop telephone, biometric finger scanner, the money also we exchange every time, the tables, the countertops, toilet flush buttons, the gym equipment, the shopping cart, the car steering, office equipment, mobile phone, toothbrush holder, soap dispenser, and all, even the POS machine that we punch almost every day. The stove knobs, the door handles, the remote control we use, the touch screen we touch almost every time, and shake also helps in spreading this very fast. Also, I need you to see most of the gates that leads to some compounds. And this is what we touch almost every day. Very dirty. Go to some auditoriums in town, go to some halls, to public places. You see the chairs there, very dirty and very irritating. These are the places that people picked infections easily than inhaling the air that is contaminated. And according to University of Michigan, it was said that 4 out of 5 germs that causes disease and illness are spread by our hands. 4 out of 5 germs that cause disease and illness are spread by our hands, meaning that hand hygiene is so crucial to living an healthy life. And as advised, we were told to wash our hands 6 to 10 times in a day. But it's been reported that frequent washing of hands with soap and water has many side effects. I will mention just one: dry skin. There's no doubt that many of us will have experienced this. When we wash our hands with soap, we are not only removing the impurities there, we are also stripping the skin of our hands off this natural oil. Naturally, our skin secreted oil to protect our skin from external invasions by the infections. And when we wash and overwash, there's no doubt we already wash off this natural oil, and this opens our skin up to dryness and eventually will lead to infection. How do I mean? Dry skin will eventually get cracked and we expose the skin to infections from bacteria. So the recommended solution from dermatologists that were interviewed is that we should keep our skin moisturized as much as we washed. Meaning that every time you wash your hand, you look for moisturizer cream just to rub your hand. And from my view, this brings additional financial burden, especially to the less privileged that can't even afford the washing initially. Also, we were advised to use sanitizer when hand washing is not visible. But of recent, it's also reported that frequent use of hand sanitizer may be too dangerous to skin, covering the hand and also end in dry skin. Meaning that when we use hand sanitizer frequently, there's no doubt the skin that covers our hands will eventually dry, and at the end of the day, we break and open up to infection. Of course, many of us will have experienced it after using the alcohol-based sanitizer. Squad, after a few minutes, your hand will be so dry. This can lead to crack of skin and open up to infections. Recently, there's a breaking news. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration Control, NAFDAC. NAFDAC is responsible for regulating and controlling the manufacturing, importation, exportation, advertisement, distribution, sales, and the use of food, drug, cosmetics, medical device, chemicals, and packaged water in Nigeria. And of recent, they alerted Nigerians that United States has placed all alcohol-based hand sanitizer manufactured in Mexico on its watch. The public alert stated that the U.S. Food and Drug Agency has seen a sharp increase in hand sanitizer produced from Mexico that were labeled to contain ethanol, but tested positive for methanol contamination over the course of ongoing pandemic. Methanol was described as a substance that can be toxic when absorbed through the skin and life-threatening when ingested. The alert said that all persons using this product on their hands were at the risk of methanol poisoning. Young children who accidentally ingested this were most at risk. Apart from this, there are lots of adulterated and unapproved sanitizers on the shelf of many stores and supermarkets in Africa. Considering the side effects experienced from the frequent hand washing and the many dangers harvested around the world via the use of hand sanitizer, here are GREENAID's recommendation. Number 1, we advise that you wash your hand less. Wash less and sanitize often. Wash less and sanitize often, meaning that you should reduce the washing of hands to 1 or 2 times in a day. As a matter of fact, the World Health Organization advises us to wash our hands with soap and water only when our hands are visibly dirty or soiled, possibly with blood, with body fluid, or after using toilet. So not every time. That's according to WHO. We are not even admonished to wash our hands every time. We are admonished to wash our hands only when we discover that these hands are visibly dirty and soiled. Rather than washing your hands, we advise that you sanitize your hand every time you have contact with frequently touched surfaces and objects. But have it in mind that you have to get the right type of sanitizer. And number 2, we advise that you disinfect regularly, meaning that you apply disinfectant to the frequently touched surfaces and objects as much as you could in a day. Reason behind this is very simple, because most of the contaminants are either from frequently touched surfaces or frequently touched objects around us. But the concern is this: how won't these practices become burden on your finance? And how many will be able to afford the best of sanitizer and disinfectant? I would like to quote Dr. Margaret Chan, one of the past Director General of World Health Organization. She said, among many other reasons, poverty cannot be overruled as one of the prominent causes of infection diseases in Africa. I quote again, among many other reasons, poverty cannot be overruled as one of the prominent causes of infection disease in Africa. Meaning that whatever will be of help should be safest and yet affordable by all. And this is why we are coming in as GREENAID Technologies. GREENAID Technologies is bringing a solution named P-H2O, that is powered water. And this will enable you to be able to get 1.5 liters of sanitizers and disinfectants with less than 50 cents. 1.5 liter volume of sanitizer and disinfectant with less than 50 cents. And this is alternative to conventional antimicrobial solution. It's chemical free, it's eco-friendly, and safest among human and pet. P-H2O technology has been existing for many decades and accepted for usage in most of the developed countries. As a matter of fact, this technology has been acknowledged and approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration, United States Environmental Protection Agency, and United States Department of Agriculture. They said it is safe in the society and especially around human and pet, and also it is eco-friendly. So what is P-H2O? P-H2O is simply electrolyzed water and is purely hypochlorous acid and serve best as organic antimicrobial solution, better and safest than the usual chemical-based solution presently in the marketplace. What's hypochlorous acid? Hypochlorous acid is a weak acid of pH between 5.0 to 6.5. Very weak acid that is friendly to human and pets around. As a matter of fact, it kills 99.999% of the germs and bacteria, cold and flu virus, E. coli, MRSA, norovirus, and even COVID-19. It is non-hazardous, non-flammable, non-toxic, chemical-free, no chemical residue after application. It's eco-friendly and no side effect on skin. As a matter of fact, hypochlorous acid is 8 times better than bleach as an antimicrobial solution. If you're like most people, you have never heard of it before now, despite the fact that it's existing in your body. Hypochlorous acid is nature's oldest disinfectant. It is the substance your white blood cell produce to fight off infections. As a matter of fact, anytime you are in a very dirty place, maybe toilet or very irritating place, immediately your body will begin to secrete this just to stand in charge and wage war against any foreign infection coming to your body. But the good news is that we are able to produce the same substance outside the human body now, and it still performs best to fight against unseen contagious. When salt is dissolved in water and exposed to electricity via the principle of electrolysis, the byproduct is called hypochlorous acid. So gentle to handle, calls for no alarm even if mistakenly ingested, yet capable of killing 99.999% of germs and bacteria we come in contact with on a regular basis. So if this is so better than the existing antimicrobial solution, why the veil until now? Why is it not known by everyone until now? Well, I have just 2 reasons for that. Number 1, inability to be able to keep this solution in a stable form, meaning that its pH is not stable. It can vary per production, and also its activeness drops almost every day. It's like just like soft drink, if opened without being taken for days, it will get flattened day by day. That's the same thing challenge we have with the solution with the hypochlorous acid until now. Number two reason is because it can only be produced on industrial scale, meaning that no individual can afford the machine that is being used to produce this. Machines cost more than $10,000 in the past. I don't know how much it costs now, but definitely it's huge. And so no individual can just afford to buy and produce. But with our technology, we've been able to help to solve the two challenges of the way. When our salt solution is exposed to electricity with the help of our gadget P-H2O generator, you can have the best of all sanitizer and disinfectant the cheapest way in just 6 minutes, just by putting our salt solution in our gadget P-H2O generator and powered by electricity. In 6 minutes, you have your sanitizer and disinfectant. Because there is a right type and accurate measure of salt that is to be used, GreenAid has shouldered the responsibility to bag the liquid form of the salt in a sachet to be used per time. So users won't end up producing something else outside hypochlorous acid, P-H2O. And with the use of our salt solution, stable pH is achievable irrespective of the hardness or the softness of the water used. We can actually predict the hardness or the softness of the tap water or the water used by individuals in their houses. So for this reason, we don't want to enforce the kind of water or type of water to use. That's why we're able to put together our salt solution. And if you used with our gadget, irrespective of the hardness or the softness of the water, we still have the same type of result all through, consistent without any variant. Remember, this hypochlorous acid has been in use in many countries right now and has been approved for use in the United States by the United States Food and Drug Administration, United States Environmental Protection Agency, and United States Department of Agriculture. And also remember that it costs less than 50 cents to produce 1.5 liters, or that can be used either as sanitizer or disinfectant. Considering the word of Dr. Marcia Chan, the past director general of WHO, she said, among many other reasons, I quoted earlier, among many other reasons, poverty cannot be overruled as one of the prominent causes of infection diseases in Africa. So our solution is without doubt a better alternative for the elite, for the middle class, and for the less privileged. Why? It costs less than 50 cents to have 1.5 liters of sanitizer or disinfectant. Now imagine entire African home having our technology with them. Without any doubt, Africa will be preserved and become infection-free continent. Yes, infection-free Africa is possible, and that's our target, making Africa infection-free continent. Before I wrap up, I'd like to mention this fact I got online. WHO, World Health Organization, said every year, alarming number of children are dying from largely preventable African biggest killer diseases, pneumonia and diarrhea. And these two diseases combined killed approximately 1.4 million young children each year, and could be greatly reduced by working with children and families to adopt a very straightforward solution, simple and hygiene. Millions of lives will have been saved, said by WHO, only if water is made available and if personal hygiene is being practiced. Also, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, said, for lack of simple hand wash, disease flourishes. With our affordable hand hygiene solution, I have no doubt that African children can be greatly helped and delivered from preventable, untimely death. Hypochlorous acid has been acknowledged to be effective and safest sanitizer and disinfectant. United States Food and Drug Administration cleared it for use on meat, on poultry, fish, seafood, fruit, and vegetable. Also, United States Environmental Protection Agency approved hypochlorous acid for washing raw food that are to be consumed without processing. As a matter of fact, most of the harvested fruit and vegetables contain pathogenic bacteria, viruses, and parasites that can contaminate foods and end as foodborne disease. Of recent, there was a video that went viral in Nigeria of one of the Lagos fruit seller that washes his fruit or soak the fruit in sewage water overnight and wash eventually. And this is taken to market to people to sell and buy and consume. So most people will never wash, or will just wash through running water. It's never done. It's never done. There are lots of pathogenic bacteria, viruses and bacteria on the fruit and vegetables. So we are advised by the United States Environmental Protection Agency to wash our raw food that are to be consumed without processing with hypochlorous acid. Hypochlorous acid is 100% organic, so it is safe in all its application. Like comparing our technology with the existing one, our technology cut off the cost of transporting the product from the manufacturer to the end user as you produce by yourself in your house. So the cost of transportation is already out. Also, it cut off the frequent visits to store in purchasing of this chemical that is not even safe around human. You don't need to go to any store to purchase anything. Within your comfort place, house, office, you can produce this without any third party being involved. And also, it cuts off individuals' contribution to the present plastic waste management challenge that is facing Africa. You produce and you apply to surfaces around you an object with the same bottle, not throwing one off and buy another one. We still produce and use the same bottle over and over and over and over again. So it helps us to cut off individuals from contributing to the present plastic waste management challenge facing Africa right now. So our intention is very simple. We want to reach everyone, the elite, the middle class, and the less privileged. We want to put our product in every home, both in the city and the rural area. And if we are to sell this product, this technology, possibly only the elites will enjoy the benefit of our service. But considering the word of Dr. Margaret Chan again, I would like to quote, she said, among many other reasons, poverty cannot be overruled as one of the prominent causes of infection diseases in Africa. So we have devised a means to achieving our goal by putting this technology in every home. You can visit www.p-h2o.com www.p-h2o.com for details about this. Our conclusion is, if hand hygiene can be the cheapest, African will be compelled to observe it. And successfully, our technology can make this happen. It affords individuals to produce 1.5 liters of disinfectants and sanitizers with less than 50 cents. I'd like to wrap up with this watchword. Our watchword is proaction is better than reaction. Proaction is better than reaction. Acting now will prevent spending in the future. Thank you so much for your time. Until I come your way again, God bless you.